Hello, everyone. It is March, and you know what that means. March Madness. And so we're talking sports. I got in the studio with me, ANTMAN.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? How
How
you
you
doing?
doing?
Man, hey, I'm back. I'm back.
You're back.
I
And we're
love it. I
gonna we're
love
gonna
it.
run down a couple of things this
Okay,
this
okay.
this
Hey, I'm
show,
ready.
this episode of the collective.
I
This
got
is
my
the
notes.
sports edition, folks. So please listen up. We got good conversation for you. So, first thing, as usual, it's March Madness.
Right.
So, who are we looking at? What's the conference to watch? Is it the Big Ten or is
Yeah,
it the newly formed?
it's the Big Ten. They got 9 teams. I think 9 or 10 teams going.
Uh huh.
So I'm gonna say Big Ten. One of them, Michigan, Illinois look real good. Michigan, Illinois,
Yeah.
Iowa, even
Yeah.
Michigan
Iowa's got
State.
the big man.
Yeah, Michigan State. Then you got Michigan, Michigan State, Iowa, Illinois. Even Northwestern look good in that conference. So yeah,
Yeah.
I say Big Ten. I say Big Ten.
Well, what about the
ACC is
Big
down.
East? What about the newly formed, reinvented Big East? What do you think?
Big East, what? St. John's,
St.
Connecticut.
John's, Villanova, UConn.
Villanova is probably the only team out of that newly formed Big East that I would say, hey, you got to look out for them. The rest of
Why?
them, I don't see too much making noise compared to
Why?
the Big Ten. ACC is down. Florida State,
Yeah.
Virginia. Carolina been, oh man, they've been so disappointing this year. Duke
Yeah, a
been
lot of people
disappointed.
are upset this year with Carolina.
Yeah, I've
They
been
don't
very
have the
disappointed.
rhythm.
I've
They
been
don't have
very
the rhythm.
disappointed.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are disappointed because for so long, they Carolina, right?
Yeah, Carolina, Duke. Yeah,
They're Carolina. It's either Carolina or Duke. And a lot of times you just have that expectation.
right.
But it seems this year, Carolina's not on top of its game for whatever reason. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's the coaching. I don't know whether the players need to gel a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not the Carolina that everybody is used to. And I
Yeah,
think that's the issue.
I think so too.
I think
I
that's
would,
the
I would,
issue.
I would, I would agree. Definitely agree with that.
Um there is everybody's talking Michigan, but
They just lost to Illinois. They got
I was getting
destroyed
ready to
by
say
Illinois.
they just got the brakes beat off
They
them
got destroyed by Illinois. But this is
by
college
Illinois.
basketball. College
Yeah.
basketball. Uh,
Yeah.
Jawan Howard, very good coach, very young coach. This is his second year as a head coach,
Right.
and for him to win a championship, I mean, I
Well,
think it's
that goes back to the Fab Five, right?
yeah, it goes down to the
Everybody
coaching.
wants the Fab Five to
Yeah,
still win in some kind of way.
yeah, because you think about their coaching staff, they have. I think he had one of the two, maybe two of the players that was on the Fab Five on his coaching staff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because all of them are real close.
yeah, so I think two of the guys that was on the team is actually on his coaching staff. So yeah, you're right. It might be a little form of the Fab Five, but I just don't. When it comes down to that tournament, it comes down to coaching.
Yeah,
And them,
absolutely.
and them guys
Absolutely.
are a little bit more experienced than him. I say Juwan Howard's good. They got a good team, but when it comes down to that coaching, it comes down to coaching. Like you got to be
Mm-hmm.
able to really step in with some of these guys that don't won 500 games, 600 games. They've been in the tournament 18, 19 years.
Right.
You
And
know,
as coaches,
as
not as
coaches, yeah,
players.
not as players, as
Not as
coaches.
players.
Yeah,
Because that's the way that, everybody is seeing Juwan, you got to give him his respect as a player, but he's still finding his way, if you will, as a
as a
coach.
coach, yeah, because you got a talented team. You got to still be able to go in with the X's and O's and set up plays, and you got to coach against. You got to go up into some of these, like you still got to go to Coach K. They still somebody Duke and
Right.
Carolina still gonna make it, and
Right.
if you got to go head to head with them in a coaching battle, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially when that's not your real experience yet.
Right.
It's
Right.
not your real experience
Even
yet.
Kansas, like you got Kansas coming along right now. So
Yeah.
Bill Self, when them guys get into coaching, these are even John Calipari with Kentucky. If Kentucky
Yeah.
made the tournament, they won them teams like you. You just don't know. It comes down to the coaching. The players are as good because they're all Americans. All the players are
Right.
all Americans.
Right.
Even Houston, they got a guy from what's his name from Houston. He used to coach Tennessee, and but he's a big time Texas. Like you got some teams, you got some good teams. You definitely got some good teams. The Big 12 is good too. I forgot about the Big 12. They're very
Yeah,
good.
that's who I was thinking of. The Big 12.
The Big
Yeah,
12
they're
very
pretty
good,
good.
very
They've got
good.
a lot of
They might
lot
have
of
17,
force.
7 to 8 teams make it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And Butler. Butler
yeah.
beat
That's why I said,
Villanova.
yeah. Butler's very good. Butler was number one like for a couple of weeks, like 3 weeks.
Yep.
But
Yep.
Kansas beat them. I think Kansas came back and beat them
Kansas
the
took
second
them
time.
out. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's how
They
they
knocked
dropped
them
to number
off.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the thing that most people appreciate about March Madness is that you just don't know who's going to come out the shadows.
Right.
You just don't have an idea. I think we learned that lesson a long time ago with Gonzaga.
Now
Like nobody had ever heard of Gonzaga,
and you
right?
can't forget about them. They number one. They've been number one the whole year, but they haven't really played anybody. I'm just be for real.
Right.
West
It's
Coast
going to
is hard.
be, yeah, it's a thing of where, it is about the schedule,
Right.
right? It is about the schedule because you can win in your conference all day long,
Right.
but but when it comes to outside of the conference, then it's a different story.
Right.
And in some ways, does coaching make a difference there? Absolutely. I
Yeah.
think so.
And
I
then
think so.
Florida State. Think about Florida State. Their coaching, good team, but you know Virginia, they don't win a
Right.
championship.
Right.
You got teams, you got coaches that's gonna be in this tournament that don't win championships, that know how to coach. So that's why I would say Michigan gonna have a long road, and then I forgot about the Big 12. Really,
Hmm.
now let me take my step back. I'm thinking a Big 12 team might end up winning it because
Really? Why?
big the style of basketballs are very different when it comes to the Big 12 and Big 10. Um,
Hmm.
I think it's a little bit more spread, and the Big
Yeah.
10, the 12 is more condensed. The Big 12 is more condensed, and they more power ball, and they got big guards. That's the thing. It comes down to your guard play, big guards that can back down these little small guards and condense the whole team. Condense the goals. It's shorten the court.
Yeah.
Big the
But it's
Pac-10.
fundamentals too, right?
Yeah, the fundamentals. Like, and then you're dealing with like instead of fast breaks, you cutting it, you slowing the game down. The Big 12, they're gonna slow the game down and they're gonna pound and ground you. They're gonna pound
Yeah.
and ground you. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking overall, that's the team that's gonna win it. A team
Because
that Oklahoma,
yeah.
Baylor, even
Yeah.
Kansas, them teams are not. They built differently.
Yeah, they've got a different. It's
Yeah.
almost like the Hoosiers have their own style of basketball.
Right, right. Indiana, they might still end up making it. They say if they do good in the tournament, they might make it. They still might make it. Indiana, and they
Yeah.
hosting the tournament. I think they hosting the Final Four. Indiana.
Yeah, they're hosting a Final Four. I think it's with them this year. It's Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder, did they really have a season? COVID has had a big effect on sports from
Right.
high school all the way up the food chain.
All the
So
way.
I'm wondering, while we're not seeing a lot of injuries right now, I'm wondering what all of this play is going to look like. And that very well may be part of Duke and UNC's problem.
Right.
The fact that, you know, the season's shorter, you're playing more games, your conditioning's probably a lot denser,
Right.
but it's the mentality. in something like this that has to make you stronger and to get you through to play. And I'm not so sure if a lot of these kids are adjusted to playing. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Trying
Like,
shape.
you know,
Yeah.
you usually start out October, November,
Training camp. Go
training
training
camp,
camp.
all of that.
Yeah. Just like the NBA players, they had to play their way into shape.
Right.
You know, so same thing with college. And a lot of them players had COVID. COVID
Yeah.
is, even though it might not give you the symptoms that a lot of people getting, it still affects your lungs.
Yep.
I don't care what anybody said, it still affects your lungs because it's a lung impacted virus. It's going to
Right.
impact your respiratory system. Period.
Right.
You might not have the headaches, you might have not have the fever, you might have no symptoms, but in
Yeah.
the long run,
Asymptomatic. Yep.
yeah, it still affects your lungs. So your conditioning, you got to get your lungs back healthy. You got to get back to conditioning, running, and moving around. And then a lot of people, just like you said, they've been out for a whole year, just chilling. You know, them guys, they teenagers. They gonna sit there eat
Right.
potato
Right. Because
chips,
they're not getting
cookies, and
paid like NBA to be
yeah,
out
they
there and
they
really
gonna eat.
condition
Jump, they
themselves.
at home eat
Absolutely.
mom food. They don't eat dad cooking, mom cooking on the grill. They eat hamburgers, hot dogs every day. They eating pizzas. They eating whole
Yeah.
pieces, not little one slice. They eating whole pieces.
Right. That
No
whole pizza.
training. They don't have to worry about training camp. They're not on campus. That's the killer. That's what's really killing them. You know,
Yeah.
them guys coming in like 20 pounds, 30 pounds overweight.
Yep. And to get out there and run the laps and do the suicides
Yeah.
and,
Oh man.
condition yourself for an hour before you actually start to play. It's a lot. And I think it's going to show. It's going to
Right.
show in March Madness.
Yep. It's gonna be the most defensive, most impactful team, and more team the best team that has more conditioning. Period.
Hmm. Period.
Yeah.
And that's who really is going to win.
Yeah.
But now I noticed with the Butler and Villanova game, and maybe this is a part of it, the free throw shooting was horrendous,
Oh
as
God.
was
Yeah.
the 3-point shooting. Horrendous. It's almost like, okay, I'm going to go down here. I'm not really going to play any defense. I'm going to be outside the perimeter and shoot. And we all know that's not really basketball.
Right.
Basketball is about not being a one-man band and learning how to make plays, right? And
Right.
being effective in getting to that basket. And Villanova had lost all of that by the second half.
Mm-hmm.
So, you have to wonder, is it conditioning? Are these guys really practicing? Have they had enough time to practice?
Then you
And
got to
it's going to be
remember
affected.
the mid level teams are still good too.
Yeah.
So you still got some mid majors, some mid level mid major teams that's still very good that gonna give the Michigans and the Oklahomas, the Baylors, they're gonna give them issues because it's all about matchups.
Hmm.
It's all about the matchups in the market. If they gonna have the full out tournament and everybody be involved with that full out tournament, it's definitely gonna be some issues overall with some of these top seeded teams because they haven't seen these guys all year.
Right.
You got to
Right.
remember back in the day, like before COVID hit, you would play a lot of these mid-level teams and see them.
Right.
Now everybody played conference. That's it. I
Yeah.
think they had like a couple out of conference games. That was it. Maybe two or three.
And I don't know if there were any holiday season tournaments,
No, it
because
most
usually you
definitely.
have those as well,
Yeah,
and they didn't have those this year. I
that's
didn't hear of any. you
that's why
know
it's gonna be very very tricky on who wins it because it might be all mid. It might the Final Four might be in the first time in history mid majors, all Final Four.
yeah.
And when I
Yeah.
say like you got mid majors like Iona, uh
Hmm. Division
teams like
twos.
that,
Yeah.
Iona, uh what's the other ones?
What's the team? I know they were just talking about one. Oh, I just saw it. Can't think of it.
South Dakota State,
Hmm.
North Dakota State, Seattle University, Chicago.
Loyola.
Yeah, they ranked this. They ranked now,
Yeah.
so that's one of
Yeah.
them teams. Like you got to remember, a lot of these teams haven't seen this team. So
Right.
when they go play the Michigans, Michigan, they might pound them in the face real quick and say, "We out."
Yep.
That number one seed fall. Same thing with Illinois. They haven't seen these teams. They've been playing each other, even though each
Right.
other is tough within that conference. But you see these
Right.
people every year, twice a year in basketball, maybe 3 times a year. If you meet them
Yeah,
in
and
the
it's
conference
not
tournament,
right.
and then if you meet them
It's
again in the regular tournament, the 65 team tournament, the NCAA March Madness tournament, then you might meet your same conference team again, and you might see them 4 times or 5 times in
right.
the season. So you don't get to see the Ionas this year. You don't see the Ionas. You don't see the Chicago Laureates, whatever. The Seattle Universities. You don't get to see these teams. Um, some of your your HBCUs. A lot of them dropped
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Like MEAC and the I think the
Yeah.
MEAC Central. I think Central is still playing, and Hampton was
Yeah,
still
that's
playing.
that's CIAA.
Yeah.
That's CIAA. And I I know the football team for A&T has left. They're in the American Conference, but I don't know about the basketball team. I don't know about the other teams. I got to check on that
Oh, and
because
Hampton is now in Big South. They're in the Big South Conference.
yeah.
Yeah.
So even the HBCUs are split up.
Yeah, they splitting up now because they're looking at it more opportunity to go to something I guess you can call these quote unquote bigger conferences or
Bigger conferences and more money.
more money. Yeah, that's what it's all about.
That's really what it's about, unfortunately. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what robbed the CIAA after integration, right?
Right.
You had all those fabulous football players coming out of Grambling and Southern
Mm-hmm.
and Mississippi State, Mississippi Valley State,
Right.
um, Winston-Salem State. And once integration came along,
It was a wrap.
so for the last almost 60 years, it has been a struggle for the HBCUs, but it hasn't.
Right.
People support their teams, right? Especially at homecoming. People come back, they come see the game, they buy season tickets, they buy boxes, right?
Right.
And with that, I'm thinking that now, here we are 60 years later, and it's not about integration anymore. It's about the money
Right.
because they see somebody like an A&T going to the Celebration Bowl
Mm-hmm.
and they're bringing 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 people to a stadium. They're increasing the whatever town they're playing in for that weekend. They're bringing in an easy, and this is probably an underestimate, $250,000 in one day. you
Right.
know so when you start to talk about things like that, then those other conferences that are not necessarily occupied by people of color, the
Mm-hmm.
HBCUs, they're like, oh, wait a minute, maybe we should invite them in
Right.
because we want a percentage of that money.
Mm-hmm. Which
So
makes sense.
yeah, it makes a difference. I mean, you are in the Charlotte area,
Mm-hmm.
and you know how CIAA rocked Charlotte
Oh
for the
man, I
past
love
10
it.
years,
Love it.
between the money, the people
Parties.
coming into town.
I just love the parties. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna sit
Yeah,
here and
and that's what
lie.
most people come for.
I was going to the parties. I was partying I party from Thursday to Sunday. And then they don't have one party. You party from that morning
Right,
to
right.
the
You party hop.
afternoon to the night
Right.
to
You,
to the next morning.
yeah,
And you
you
get a
party
little
hop.
rest, during that morning a little bit until 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, then you back out again.
You back out again because you're going to the day parties.
Going to the day parties, night parties, and afternoon parties. I mean, we partying. And then it's we doing some adult activity when it comes to drinking. We having a couple drinks.
Right,
We
right,
doing listen to music at home. You got your own little cookouts and stuff going on.
right, right.
And and the games was taking a hit. That's what really come down to it. That's one reason that Charlotte lost the CIAA,
Yeah.
because the games itself was taking a hit, and the
Right,
actual
because nobody
CIAA
was
was
going
taking
to
a
the
hit.
games, but they were bringing money into Charlotte.
Right, just Charlotte, but not the
Just
CIAA.
Charlotte, but not CIAA. You know, there was a time when people did go to the games
Right,
and party, but it got to be so legendary, so to speak, that people started coming in from all over the country
and see the
just to go to the
CIAA,
parties.
they should have partnered up with these companies that was doing these parties. They should have brought big
You
sponsorships
think
with it.
so?
That's how they should have made the money. They should have brought like Sprite and did a Sprite party, because they know we here to party or we
Right,
party. So they should
right,
have brought Sprite, Coca-Cola, one of these big sponsors to come in. They gonna come in because the rappers are bringing them in.
right,
So why not
right.
bring you to CIAA? Why not don't bring it? Bring the sponsors in to have their parties, the Hennessy party, the
Yeah,
Ciroc party,
yeah, yeah,
and bring these, and that would start bringing your money. You partner up with these people to do this, or partner up with like big promoters,
right,
corporate promoters, not
right.
not these little,
Not the local yokel.
not ANTMAN off the corner promoter, not me. Don't go with
Right,
me off the corner type promoter. Go with somebody that works
right,
for these corporations like Coca-Cola, and that promote parties for Coca-Cola. Under
right,
Armour has their own event planner. They have their own promoter. You can reach out to Under Armour and they're going to be like, oh, well, it's CIAA. It's going to be 5 million people down here. Okay,
mm-hmm.
it makes sense.
Yeah,
Let me put
yeah,
$250,000 up. CIAA put up 10,000. Both individuals make money, and now you got a success. You make the
yeah,
money yourself.
yeah. But the thing is, you still got to draw people to the games.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about. It's really a sports conference
yeah.
weekend. You
But
know,
that's what
you
I'm
got
saying.
to
You got
bring
to make
people in.
incentives. You have to make it an incentive for people to go to the game. If it's not
Right.
an incentive, and there's more parties going on than the incentive, see, that's where the scheduled parties should have been scheduled around the games. They should have had better scheduling around the parties and the games. With that being said, that's the way it would have worked for Charlotte to
Yeah.
continue. And Charlotte was making more money than the conference itself. So,
Right. Right.
you
Right.
know,
So Charlotte takes a
yeah.
hit as they move to Baltimore. All right. What we're going to do is break here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the Atlanta Dream.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk about our quarterback controversy.
Okay.
All right. ANTMAN from
Yes,
AC
ma'am.
Brown and the Hustle Within is here with me.
AC
We're
Brown.
talking sports on the
Sports tonight.
collective.
Hustle within. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to break and could be right back. This is the collective on WSME Enlightenment Radio. We're back on the collective. This is a sports edition of the collective.
Mm-hmm.
With me from the Hustle Within and the AC Brown show is ANTMAN. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining
No
in
problem.
today
I'm the
as
sports
we talk
anchor. I'm an anchor,
sports.
journalist. I'm a sports journalist.
You're playing, you got on the other hat right now. The
Yeah,
sports
yeah.
journalist hat,
I
right?
got my journalist hat on right now.
All right. That's cool. Thank you for coming in the
You're welcome.
room.
No problem.
I'm trying to find, I'm going to admit, I cannot think of the candidate's name who won the U.S. not representative, but Senate seat in Georgia. And because it goes into our next conversation.
Was it Warloff? Warloff or something?
I
One
got
of
to
them?
find it. And I'm putting it under Ebenezer Baptist Church because he's the pastor there. But in the meantime,
Mm-hmm.
so there's a young lady who used to play for UConn.
Yes.
Her name is Renee Montgomery.
Yes. All-American, legendary.
One of Geno's finest, as they like to say. As it turns out, there was a person who's running for U.S. Senate.
Mhm.
Everybody knows that with this past year in politics, the person who had part ownership in the Atlanta Dream,
Oh God.
of which
Yeah.
Renee Montgomery was a player,
Mhm.
was someone who seemed to be bigoted against people of color.
Mhm.
And as it turned out, she also was a part owner of the Atlanta Dream.
Yes.
So once the players heard her vitriol and the things that she was saying about people of color, they walked out. They didn't play, I think, one or two games.
Right. They
They didn't play
boycott.
their games.
Right.
And so when they did decide to come back to the court, they wore shirts for the opponent and they demanded that she give up her portion
Mhm.
of the team. So, as it turns out, the former star of the ATL Dream, Renee Montgomery, switched up and bought her portion. She is one of the first women of color to own an NBA team or have ownership in a WNBA team.
Nice. I
And
think LeBron.
so,
I think LeBron helped out on that too. LeBron James was a big influence into helping her out with that, buying that team, buying the ownership.
but she is one of the first.
Hmm.
So kudos to her in Women's History Month. She makes history,
Oh
and
God.
it tells you how, if you think about sports and race in America, right? It shows you that while people of color make an impact on the field and on the court, that professional entities still lag behind in the office,
Right.
in the front office, and in ownership.
Right.
Because I think in the NFL, there's only, it might be two people of color, and neither one of them are black, that own NFL teams or a
No,
portion.
it's not one. Not there's
There's
no.
a woman who is, she's not white, she's either Iranian or Turkish.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
the Jacksonville Jaguars
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot about that.
coach.
Yeah.
They're the
Oh
only
yeah.
two.
Mm-hmm.
There are no more owners of color after them,
Nope.
and none African American.
None. Not in part ownership.
Right.
Not even five
Not
percent.
even part ownership.
Yeah.
There's
There's no
none.
5% ownership and no NFL team for black ownership. Um, and you think about even the NBA, you only got one, Michael Jordan,
Right.
and
And people would expect Michael Jordan to have full ownership, right?
yeah, just like you expect LeBron when he retire, he gonna have a team. I mean,
Yeah.
because these guys are the focal, but they the ones that made the bulk of the money for the NFL. I mean, the NBA.
Right.
LeBron
Right.
James is making all the money for the NBA right now.
Right.
Uh, Michael Jordan made all the money for the NBA in the '90s and late '80s, early '90s, mid '90s, and his shoes are still dominant. His brand is still dominant for the NBA. It's
Right.
a dominant brand. Just same thing with LeBron. His brand it's the same. It's like a repeat history. LeBron
Mm-hmm.
James is basically the Michael Jordan of 3.0.
Yep.
2.0. Basically saying, hey, from a business standpoint, I'm not saying that he's a better player. I'm not saying that.
Right. Right.
I'm saying that from the business standpoint, 2.0, Michael Jordan and LeBron James are right there the same. They pretty much the same. It took and Magic Johnson. You got to remember Magic Johnson. He's the only one. And the thing about Magic Johnson that really gave him the hit was the HIV.
Right.
They didn't really want to put him up there into the lead
Right.
factor of
Right.
by having that disease and that virus. it pushed back a lot on him with ownership and being the face of the NBA or being that
Right.
type of person. And he had to retire kind of earlier than what he
And
expected.
they
And
wanted to
so,
do something for him.
right. So he's still part of the NBA. Don't get me wrong. He's still the legend in the NBA, Hall of Famer, one of the best players to ever play in the NBA. But the thing about it is, from a business standpoint, NBA didn't give him what they gave Michael Jordan
Right.
or what they're going to
Exactly.
give LeBron
Or the
James.
opportunity
The
that they
opportunity to
gave.
own a team. Because they
Right.
actually going to bring in 2 new franchises in the near future. Seattle and possibly once you bring in one franchise, you got to bring in 2.
Got to bring in another one.
So
Yeah.
they're going to bring in 2 franchises. LeBron is almost at the end of his career. I say another 2 years, LeBron is gone.
Yeah.
And that's when they think about bringing these teams in within the next couple years. So there you go.
So it was Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler who was
Yeah.
part owner of the Atlanta Dream.
Mm-hmm.
She was defeated by Reverend Warnock,
Warnock, yeah.
Raphael Warnock, and he is the pastor of the Ebenezer Baptist Church,
Right.
which is Dr. King's home church.
Right.
And he beat her in the Senate race. And part of the reason was that the Atlanta Dream were Warnock shirts. Every
Right.
time you saw them, their warm up said, "Vote Warnock."
Right.
And so they put the message out there. But it's amazing that here we are, almost at least what 20 years in this century,
Mm-hmm.
and we still are seeing that race is playing a part in sports.
Big part.
And it's almost a thing of where, when are we going to get tired of this debate? Because you got folks who got the money.
Right.
You got folks now who have the money to buy teams, to support franchises, to build stadiums, come together in groups and buy stadiums.
Yeah,
So it's
because you
not
never spend
like,
your same money. You never
right,
spend your money. You
right.
put yourself in a group. Like I have an investment company I just put together, Capton Venture Partners, and basically what I'm doing is formulating groups, spending groups that go in and purchase certain stock.
So how
Go
much you
in,
got? How much you got to give to get in there?
we'll talk. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk.
Yeah, we'll talk.
I'm
And I
kind of
got a couple.
interested.
Yeah, I got a couple things too that's coming up the rope, the
All
tightrope.
right,
So I
all
got a
right.
couple things coming down. But just
Let us chat offline.
yeah. So definitely, them type of things are when you do a venture capitalist company or venture
Right,
partner company, you
right,
put together groups to go in and buy things you normally couldn't buy outright.
right.
So
Or singly as
single,
as
you
an
wouldn't want to put
individual.
that type of money. You're not gonna put them. You're not gonna put of your own money. You're not gonna put $2 billion into Reebok, which Master P and Baron Davis was working on. They still working on buying Reebok. It's two
Hmm.
point six billion, I believe. You're not. So they put a group together. It's a whole
Right,
group. It's a whole.
right,
It might be a group of 500 people buying it,
right.
but they're just the majority owner because they was able to get the most of the money, generate
Most
most
of,
of the money.
yeah, yeah. And that's not, I mean, and that's what venture capitalists do.
Right.
But we as a community are new to that game.
Right.
We're new to that, and
And
we're
right.
learning it. And more than likely we're going to burn it up, because once we learn something, we usually do very well.
Right. And I learned from one of the best. I learned from Nas. I watched
Mm,
the way he operate, and I watch Jay-Z how he operate. These guys are new generational billionaires,
right,
and
right.
they are making money from different angles when they doing these venture capitalist groups and putting
Well,
together
they're
these partnerships.
they're wealth generators, right?
Yeah.
They can look at something and figure out how to market it and see what the capital is that's going to come out of it, right?
Yeah. Just like Bitcoin. Like people looking at Bitcoin heavy. Like I'm not. I'm invested in Bitcoin in a partnership with
Mm-hmm.
One of my clients, AC Brown. Let's say AC Brown. He's
Right.
AC is definitely building up his portfolio. I'm helping him build his portfolio up from a business management standpoint. But
Right.
the thing about it is, we are looking at different angles to invest. We're not looking at that direct angle like I'm just go straight ahead and just invest $10,000 into Bitcoin. I'm gonna invest $20,000 in Bitcoin. No, you got to look at the angles, the infrastructure
Right.
of Bitcoin. You know,
Right.
look at some of the infrastructure of Bitcoin. Just like the dream owner, Renee Montgomery, how she went in.
Mm-hmm.
She's a player. You wouldn't think
Yeah.
like, okay, what type of money does she got to buy the WNBA team?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, but people don't understand. It's not she probably got good business credit. She
Yeah.
probably built
She
up her business
partnered,
credit.
according to Celebrity Net Worth, and they're quoting TMZ, she partnered with two real estate executives,
Bingo.
Larry
Bingo.
Gostendiner and Susan Aber,
Yep.
both of the Northland real estate firm, to purchase the Atlanta Dream from its former owners, including ex-Georgia Senator Kelly Loeffler, and they don't say how much.
So she coming in as a partner group, and she probably got a majority of the share.
Yes.
Bingo. So she's the
Yes.
face of it. So they gave her the face. The two real estates individuals that's behind her actually probably they combine all their business credit together.
Right.
Where if you got good business credit, good trade lines on your business credit, you can borrow up to $1 billion. People don't understand that. It's not the fact that, oh, you might not have the money over here, you might not have the money in your bank account, but you got good credit, good business credit. You got good business credit, you can borrow money from a financial group will give you money. They'll give
Right.
you money to say, hey, you could be
Right.
the face of the company. We'll give you $10 million. We'll give you $20 million. As long as you give us 25% of it, 50% of it.
Right. It's like Shark Tank.
Yeah. You give us
Same
equity
same
in it.
idea.
You give
Same
us
idea.
equity, we moving with it. That's how it works. But yeah, Capital
And
Venture Partners. Make sure y'all hit me up. Y'all trying to, I got some stuff coming down the pipeline. Some big stuff.
it's not the only thing she has ownership in. Earlier this year, she formed a partnership with Marshawn Lynch and Mike Tyson and pro wrestler Miro as owners of the Beast in the fan-controlled football league, an indoor football league that was formed in 2017.
Bingo. See?
So she's definitely got the experience. She
And she knows
knows
what she's
how to
doing.
bring it together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she knows what she's looking at. You
Yeah.
know, it's almost like any marketing thing, right?
Right.
You gotta have your finger on the pulse, the thumb on the pulse. You gotta be able to hear it, see it, and understand what's going on in order for you to invest.
Yeah.
That's the big deal.
Yeah.
So shout out to UConn's own Renee Montgomery for being the first WNBA player to own their former team.
Bingo.
And
Beautiful.
Women's History Month,
Yes. And
Black History is
we got some good stuff coming
365.
up. Yeah, we definitely got good stuff coming down the pipeline on that too with the show The Hustle Within. We got some good stuff coming up for the women, for the young
Okay.
ladies.
And we middle-aged ladies.
Yeah, yeah, but y'all still young too, y'all still young too. Yeah, but we're not gonna say middle age. We're gonna say y'all still young and beautiful also.
Okay, I'll go with that. I'll take
Yes,
that. Thank
yes.
you.
Mm-hmm.
So, football. Right now we've got some swaps going on.
Yeah,
And it seems like the biggest conversations are centered around Dak of the Cowboys,
right.
Dak Prescott,
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson, and the gentleman from the Texans.
Watson,
Yes,
Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Now, what they're saying is Dak Prescott really isn't going anywhere. So he's basically being very quiet about all of this, while Russell Wilson and Watson are, kind of rumbling through their agents. They're not necessarily saying anything. but their agents are kind of twisting the screws to either sweeten the
Right.
deals or get them out of their contracts.
Right.
And Russell Wilson has one of those kind of for life contracts, right?
Well, he has a 4-year deal. The deal is a no. He has a no trade clause in his deal, and basically, I mean, that's my team. I'm gonna let people know. Seattle
Yeah,
Seahawks is my team.
you're a Seattle fan.
I'm not a. I'm a Russell Wilson fan as long as he's on the Seattle Seahawks.
So
It.
if he goes somewhere else,
I mean, I would say thank you,
that's
Russ.
where you are.
No, 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 no. I'm a Seattle fan from since I was 9 years old. I've been to Seattle.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, so I'm a diehard fan, ride or die with Seattle. So if Russell Wilson leave, he leaves. I mean, I would say
Well,
thank you for.
what could they do, or what can they do to keep him? Because it's about
It's
trying to
about
keep him, right? Making
quarterbacks
it
are
better.
basically quarterbacks are small babies when it comes to they want to be able to come in and control the team.
Yeah.
You know, he want. I mean, and you got to look at it, over the years, Russ has been getting hit a lot because we don't put a lot into our line. We don't put a lot into our offensive line. We're a budget team. We're a team that might have a salary cap of $100 million and only
But
spend
why
40 of
is
it.
that when you have somebody like a Russell Wilson that you need to protect?
I don't
So
get it.
you got to bring in people who, you got to bring in people who are going to protect your $1 million baby or 2 million or 4 million or $60 million baby.
John Snyder and Pete Carroll is developers. They would take somebody. They almost
And
got
though are they coaches or owners?
John Snyder is the general manager,
Okay.
and Pete Carroll is the head coach and vice president of operations, I believe. Yeah, he's like a vice president of operations. But they like to bring in draft picks and develop. They like to
Mm-hmm.
build their team from the draft. They don't like to go out and get free agents. They don't like to put that big money on a free agent. It took a couple years for them to actually give Russell Wilson the money that he deserved, right? And then they let Richard Sherman walk away. They let Marshawn Lynch walk away. They let Earl Thomas walk away. You know, Cam
Rather than pay
Chancellor
them.
retired. They didn't protect him. So it's a lot of players that from our Super Bowl team that was there for 1 year. I mean, they was there for 3 years, but they left. They walked away when it was contract time because Seattle didn't want to give them. They said, "Well, we can go get this same guy in the
Right.
draft and build him up to do the same thing you doing."
Right.
Which, as you can see, we haven't missed a beat. We made the playoffs for the 9 straight years,
Right.
and we've been a 10 team. Well, we're a 10 game. We've been winning 10 games or more every 9. For the whole 9 years. And making the playoffs and made it to the Super Bowl twice back to back. So, I mean, his formula is not bad. Don't get me wrong. Pete Carroll's formula is not bad, but
But
Russell Wilson now is the face of the team. So he's looking at it like, hey, I need more protection, right?
uh
I need more protection. I need more ways to go out here and make decisions. I want to be able to do my own audibles. I want to be able to call my own plays. I want to be able to bring in the
like
offensive
Tom
coordinator.
Brady.
Yeah, I want to be a Tom Brady. He sat there and watched the Super Bowl. That's the thing about it. Him and Sierra was up there watching the Super Bowl, so he's seen how Tom Brady basically controlled the whole team. He
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything. The coach with Tampa Bay didn't do anything. He sat there and he just was happy and jumping around. Tom Brady
Yeah.
handled everything from top to bottom.
Yeah.
That's what Russell Wilson want to be able to do. Personnel,
Yeah.
help with personnel and
Personnel.
everything. Yeah, he want to be a
Absolutely.
personnel consultant. He want to basically be the quarterback personnel consultant. Like, we need this lineman, we need this receiver, we need this person, we need that person. No, we need to move this person over here. We need a special team person. He want to be able to do that type of stuff.
Well, do you think I think from the way it looks, since Prescott is an unrestricted free agent, I think Jerry Jones is going to hang in there.
I think I'm gonna tell you what they're gonna do with Dak. They gonna sign him to the franchise tag for the second time. Give him the $38 million. So that make him what 60 some million over the last couple years
Right.
because they still don't trust the fact that he just a bone was sticking out his leg
Right. Right. Because
and
he's had that injury.
he want 45 million a year. So he want $250 million contract. He basically want a $250 million contract.
But that's kind of unheard of when you got that kind of injury.
You just had that type of injury. I mean, you 26 years old, 27
Right.
years
So
old.
you got time to develop it and
Yeah,
let people put all kinds of stuff on it and blah, blah, blah. But
38 million.
still.
Yeah, 38 million. That's a tag. And then they're going to let him walk because they're going to start looking at the draft. If I wouldn't be shocked if they wouldn't draft a quarterback at the 10th pick this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let him come on as a franchise tag and bring this quarterback in and take his place once they let him walk. And because really can't trade him for a Russell Wilson right now. Can't trade him. Russell Wilson is a signed quarterback. Dak
Right.
Prescott is unsigned, but under the franchise, under franchise
Right.
tag.
Right.
Like he can't walk. They can't trade him. They can't sign him to the franchise tag and then let him go. It don't work that way. You got to sign him to an actual contract and then trade him.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't work like that in the NFL. So that's why I said Dak will probably most likely play out 1 year. It's another rehearsal year, and then if he do good this year, he come back healthy, stay healthy, and they
Yeah, I was
win.
going to say more than likely because he has not played,
Yeah,
he's probably really ready to play
yeah, he
and
gonna
pretty healthy.
stay healthy, do what he got to do, and the Cowboys might keep him. They might end up keeping him because they have no risk, no reward right now. Because
Right.
they looking at low risk, high reward, or high risk, low reward. So we're gonna give you the 38 million to stay on the roster for 1 more year, but after you sign, we're gonna cut you loose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not
Mm-hmm.
gonna give you that
Yeah, we're not
45
going to
million.
pay you that full contract.
And then if he don't do good with Cowboys next year on the $38 million tag,
Mm-hmm.
guess what's gonna happen? He's gonna have to walk away. And the other team's gonna look at him and say, well, you didn't do good with the Cowboys. We're not giving you 45 million. So now he got to take what they give him.
Yeah, but it's still not going to be under 25 million.
Mm-mm. Right.
He's not going lower than that
No.
because then he's not worth his salt, you know? So it's going to have to be.
Yeah, it's a rehearsal.
Somebody's going to lose a little bit of their cap.
Yeah, this year is gonna be rehearsal. Another
Yeah,
one. He's gonna sign
you're going
another.
to see it.
He
And what
probably
do you
sign.
think about Watson?
He's out of there. But I think the Texans
But
gonna
he's
make him.
signed already.
Yeah, but they're gonna make him sweat a little bit. But they gonna still trade him. They might trade him during the draft. That's why I think
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna really trade him because they looking at with the way these quarterbacks out of college are developing.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a lot of good quarterbacks coming out of like
yeah.
game changing quarterbacks coming out the draft this year. Like some of these are franchise quarterbacks coming in the
Right,
first round. And
right.
they looking at the opportunity to say, all right, if you give us that quarterback plus your next 2 first-round picks for the next 2 years and a third round, we'll give you him. It just come down to what team was willing to do that.
All right, before we go,
Mm-hmm.
should there be a Kobe logo?
Kobe, yes, definitely.
Why?
I think Kobe already. I mean, I think Kobe is one of the ones that he was an advocate about the NBA. He was one of the. You got players that go through the NBA every year, right?
Yep.
You got legends that went through the NBA, that play year after year after year. But the dedication of the NBA, he bled the NBA. Was Kobe Bryant. He's one of them type of players that his passion, his dedication to the NBA. He was dedicated to the NBA.
Yeah.
So he should be the logo. He's probably the only player that I can say is dedicated to the NBA. Like
Well,
even his off days, he was working on his
yeah, he
game
worked.
for the
He
NBA.
worked.
Yeah.
Yep. But now the argument is, and this is what I sat and watched Stephen A this week, and Stephen A said, if you're gonna do a logo, it should be Michael Jordan because without Michael Jordan, there would be no Kobe Bryant.
Right.
And so MJ really changed the game because not only did he enhance the NBA brand, he stepped it up and made it global. There's
Right.
not a place on the planet that Michael Jordan cannot go and not be recognized. So,
But I still think with Michael Jordan is still not. He was passionate. He was probably one of the passionate players that ever played when he was on the field,
yeah,
on the court. Now, Kobe was off the court still doing. They like they said the stories that they can tell you about Kobe Bryant is definitely different than a Michael Jordan story
yeah,
because Kobe did not leave the basketball court. Period.
yeah.
He,
And there
he
are,
didn't party. He didn't go out. Michael Jordan
yeah,
gambled. Michael
he
Jordan went
was,
out and
yeah.
gambled. Michael Jordan drunk.
Well,
He smoked
well,
cigars.
Michael Jordan's a different animal. That's a whole different show.
That's what I'm saying. Michael
He's a
Jordan,
different,
the passion that Michael Jordan showed is on the court.
yeah,
Kobe
yeah,
was on and off the court. He never left the court. That's the thing about Kobe. Never left the court. He practiced day in, day out. They say he would leave the game and go work out, and then go home and sleep, and then go back in the morning and work out,
and
and
work
then play
again.
a game.
Mamba mentality.
Yeah, he was an attack on in and off and on the court. I mean, that's why I'm like, I would still see a Kobe being more of a logo than a Michael Jordan, even though Michael Jordan was the face of the NBA for
Yeah.
years.
Got to
But
wrap it up. Got to wrap it up. Doc is giving me the signal.
all right,
So thank you, Ant-Man,
you're welcome.
from the Hustle Within and the AC Brown Show. Appreciate you coming in and talking sports on the collective this evening. It was fun.
Oh yeah,
Um, maybe we should have our next conversation be Kobe versus Mike.
yeah. Hey, I'm with it. I'm with it.
Let's do it. All
Okay,
right. Thank you so much.
you're
Thank
welcome.
you out there for joining in and being a part of the collective right here on WSME Enlightenment Radio. Thanks, Doc.
All right. Good night.